So I press the seal in with this press here with the help of a friend. Just like that. That's how you want to do it. Nice and carefully. Get that seal in there. Alright. This is now the rebuild process of this because the paint's all dry. We're ready to start rebuilding. Here's your seal for the sump. Here. Okay, here. Here's Henry. Alright, hold on. Hold on.
I'm gonna adjust it so it gets low.
Hold on.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let me get it centered. Okay. Slowly just press right in there.
She's not.
Okay, no.
Ooh.
There.
Okay, hey. We gotta take it out. Oh no.
Looks good.
Shoot. Here's Cyrus.
What's up?
She's fine.
So we got our sump seal in there. Ah! We got our sump seal in there and our case seal. And we're gonna start assembling the rest. Alright, so on with the assembly. Got the crankshaft in there using Lucas heavy duty assembly lube. Use it in here. I lubed the inside of that bore where the crankshaft goes in there with it, and I lubed the seal so it doesn't dry rot, because the one on here did, because it wasn't lubed up. And now I'm going to put the cam and everything else in there, and I'll be back whenever that's done. Alright, so I got the crank and the cam in. And I put assembly grease on everything. Well, it's lube, not grease. But I put it in the bore where that shaft goes in there. Big blob of it. I put a big blob right in the middle here and turned it for a while to get it all in the gears. And I'm about to put my piston in now. And I got my torque wrench, my ring compressor, my assembly grease, and I'm going to look up the torque spec. And I'll show you guys how to put a piston in, if you don't already know. Okay. So before I put this in, I'm going to get this rag. I'm going to put it on that crankshaft journal right there. Okay. Set that on the journal. The reason for that is whenever you hit that piston in there and it goes sliding down, you don't want it to whack that journal, because it'll score it and that'll ruin it. Because then junk will get caught in there, and when the engine's operating, it'll tear it up, and your bearing surface right here, and it won't be good. So now I'll show you how to knock the piston in there. Okay, I'm using the flywheel as a phone stand. So, okay. I'm gonna get my hands nice and lubey right now. Okay, this glove is way too small for my hand, so I'm gonna need to make it work. I just slide one finger in there because it won't fit. And these gloves literally just tear apart that easy, so I can't use those, or else those would have been perfect. So to get this thing in, I'm going to put assembly lube all inside the board. And it doesn't matter how messy you get with it, because, I mean, I have no idea why my phone shut off, but, I mean, I have to... Well, I just lubed the bore with assembly lube, pretty much. I didn't do anything else. So I'm going to put the piston in this way. Like that, because this goes like that. And you want your dipper to be facing the right side at this angle. Towards where the valves go. Your push rods go in. I'm not putting the cap on yet. I'm going to put that on when it's in there. But now, this is where the ring compressor comes in. Hold on. It's wanting to press buttons. Damn it. They said technology would be fun. It's not. This is exactly why I'm a mechanic and not a computer programmer. Because of stuff like this. Just can't handle it. There. Now your ring compressor is going to come in there. This little deal. You want to untighten it with your tool. Oh. Yeah. Untightens just like that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the piston in there like this, with the part where you tighten and loosen it facing down, so that whenever I'm putting it in, it's facing up in case I need to adjust it. Okay. Now I'm gonna tighten it up. Alright, nice and snugly in there. Okay, now I'm going to lower it in like this. Okay, just like that. Now, I'm just going to actually, okay, now it should slide right in. Okay, now I'm just gonna there's the connecting rod getting something. Okay, now I'm going to move that rag out of the way, because it's, I'm just going to, well, you get the idea. You try to get it down in there with the ring compressor, and then you put the rag in the way so it doesn't score the journal. Okay. It didn't take me long. I just had to readjust this because a ring was sticking out in the bottom. But I just tapped it in there with the end of this rubber mallet. Just the wooden handle. Which it's fine if you use wood. It's better to use something softer, but I don't got anything else. So. You know, your connecting rod's right there. So what I'm going to do now is put a bunch of assembly lube on it. Right in there, and then I'm gonna just crank it a little bit and manage it around so it gets lubed up, and then I'll put the rod cap on there and torque it. Alright, so I got the rod cap on the piston on the connecting rod. Your oil dipper right there flings the oil around. I got this in time with that. I got everything in there assembled, and with assembly, plenty of assembly lube. Now all I have to do is torque that. you're going to use this to do it. So the manual calls for 105 inch-pounds on the rod cap bolts. So as I torque it, this needle is going to move this way. And when it reaches 105 on here, or around that, it'll be good. Because I did have a much nicer torque wrench, but it didn't go up to 105. It only went up to 50. So I couldn't use it. So I found this one that does. So I'm going to have to go use that. So now I'm going to torque it and show you guys the after result. Okay. Just to show you guys a little. You gotta be holding the engine down while you do this, but pull down, and then it went all the way up to 105, which is about right there. That dot, the line right after the 100. I just went there, and that's how you torque it, and then you can, well, you can rotate it now. Just to be sure. Match. Crud. Hold on. We're not in time now. Shit. Don't know how that happened. But, easy fix. All I'm going to do for that, I'm just going to pull that out. Turn it. And, see your match mark right there? I'm going to match the two up. And then just like that. Now you're in time. And it's got an ACR, automatic compression release, which when your engine starts cranking, it flares open like a flyweight. And, well, that's when it starts running. But when you crank it, it keeps the exhaust valve open wider so that it's easier to pull the engine. It releases compression, so when it starts, this flares out and disables that, so then it's opening at the normal size. So makes it easier to start. So it disengages when your engine starts running so that you have full compression. So that's a little nifty thing. Tecumseh, I think, is known for that. Alright, on with the assembly. I have two of these here gasket sets because I think I am ready to put the sump on. Because all that's in place, timed everything. Got your governor lever right here. Lubed it up just because, I don't know. And I'm going to put my sump gasket on. I'm going to assembly lube that. I'm going to assembly lube the governor and everything. And then I'm going to put that all together. Put the woodruff key on the other side. And then I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put this on the crankshaft and then the woodruff key after it. Because my woodruff key's somewhere. I'll find it. It's somewhere on that tray, but... Alright. Found it. No need to worry. Okay, this was really exciting to open. So you got this gasket here. I'm going to keep all these packages just because I can. I don't know. It's kind of cool. This is your sump gasket there. Head gasket, cover gasket. These are... One of these is your intake and your exhaust. I believe that's exhaust. That's your intake. And I'm not sure what a couple of these are for, but I'll figure it out as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and install this one. There goes a big old diesel. So I think I'm going to dump all these bolts off. So I don't need that in the way. So I'm going to put assembly lube on the governor. I'm going to put assembly lube in the camshaft bore. Fill it up all the way. And I'm going to put assembly lube inside the crank bore. I call it a bore. I don't know what else to call it. It's a hole that something goes in. It's called a bore. Just like the cylinder. Right? It's like the cylinder bore. And a gun rifle bore, you know. Okay. Doesn't really matter if you make a mess of this stuff inside, but just try not to get it on the paint. And sometimes you have to touch the paint to get things on, but just make sure you clean it afterwards. I mean, that's what I prefer. So let me just assembly lube that all in there, and I assembly lube that. Okay, now I'm gonna put the sump on. I'm going to put the gasket on the sump because it has these pins in there that go into the crankcase. There's holes that they match in. Got it on there, you can see. Okay. Let me inspect that seal. Looks okay to me. Okay. Now I'm just gonna pop it on. Oh, whoops. Now, come to think of it, I'll just put this gasket right here, I guess. Because it was trying to fall off, but I don't want it doing that. Okay, so now I'm just gonna this thing was a pain in the neck to get off. So, I don't think it'll be very easy getting it back on. No, I'm not gonna do anything stupid. Well, I'll come back when I get this on here. Okay, so alright, got the gasket in and the sump on there, and that is not leaking oil. That actually is just some assembly lube squeezing out because I put a crap ton. So, because I had to lube that whole shaft there for this to even slide on because it was so dry. Alright, I got all of the sump bolts torqued to 115 inch-pounds. 115 inch-pounds. See here. I mean, I'm not sure that that's too important, but it could be because of like the spacing in between the crankshaft and, you know, like the clearances of everything in there and stuff like that. So I just follow it, you know. And again, that seal's not leaking. It's just because I put a crap ton of lube on there. I don't know that that's a good thing, but I don't know. Alright, now I do believe I can move on to the head now. After I... Actually, no, I can't. I have to put the woodruff key and everything on there. Alright, I'll be back with that.